Hello and welcome to the Subaru Impreza. I'm stood this far away because it's extremely loud. Actually, it's probably not, because it hasn't got a massive exhaust on it. It's just got a rather tasteful, slightly big exhaust there. Not one of those dustbin entrances, outrances. The Impreza always has this reputation of being a leery boy's car. Somebody who needs to be listened to shout louder than anybody else, and then eventually someone will take you seriously. But that was 20 years ago. Now we're in 2022 and this isn't just an annoying boy racer's car driven by a young chap who's got far too much money left because he lives with his mum and dad. No, this is, now it's a retro car, and retro's cool. And what's even more cool is that this is an original car. It's got its original paint with plenty of patina. It's got an original bonnet scoop with plenty of lack appeal. It's got these vents on the bonnet, which there's a bit of heat coming out of them, so I guess they do something. Massive fog lamps. The front end of the Subaru Impreza is a very, very distinctive looking car, and it looks very much from the 90s, and that's a good thing because that is where it's from. In fact, it's so of its time. If you kind of squint here, looking at the front there, you can kind of see an Escort Cosworth, and I'd rather see this. Even with the bonnet scoop and the vents and the massive fog lamps, the design is not overly complicated. It's quite smooth. There's smooth shoulders, not big hunky shoulders. You know, some of the more modern cars have angular bits everywhere to make it look like you're going to polish the lacquer off on the edges. You don't need to do that with this one because it's already coming off. Yeah, it's definitely a bit of honest paintwork on the go there. Nothing tarted up with this. What I particularly like about this is it's the estate version. Normally an estate version of a car is a different car. It'll have an extended back end, it'll have a redesigned rear door. Otherwise it looks a bit weird. Like, let me see. There's a few cars I can think of. The Renault Laguna, that looked like that. The Honda Civic, that looks like that. And probably a whole load of others. But this one, it's just had that bit put on the back, no extension of the rear end at all, same rear doors, and somehow it works. Yeah, it just looks, I'm going to say I like it. And then with that we have two boot spoilers. That one can't really be doing very much, and so it's kind of for show, I guess. Maybe it does do something. Does that one do anything? I don't know. I like the roof rails actually. Another good addition to any estate car. And then we have the rather rounded back end, rounded bumpers, rounded bits everywhere. These particularly rounded rear light clusters. Do you know what they remind me of? And you won't believe this. Rice pudding. Yes, I'm looking at a Subaru Impreza Turbo 2000 all-wheel drive. If this car was one I was completely unfamiliar with and it didn't have a registration plate on to give away its age, I would know exactly how old it is just by these door handles. The wheels are kind of big for the time. 215 45 R17. Kind of big, not really big. That's it, 17-inch wheels, not 18 or 19 or 21. That's what would have happened if this car was in the hands of a particular type of person. Make it completely inappropriate. But instead, I'm finding myself thinking, this is actually quite a practical car so far. For what is quite a small car, that's quite a big boot and a nice load cover. And instead of an electric switch, it's just got a pull switch. And personally, I think that's more likely to carry on working. You know the thing that if your car's got a flat battery and you've got some jump leads in the boot, but you can't get into the boot because it's got a switch rather than, you know, a handle. That's why I prefer a handle. Open the door, the handle works well. And we notice this here, a frameless door. That's quite an unusual thing for a saloon car or even a state car. And it's the same on the back, of course. Full electric windows. Nice. Nice frameless. I like that. Gosh, for a car that I always hated, this is doing okay so far. Inside we have these bucket seats, which I believe are original, and they do show an awful lot of what this car is all about. It's got some heritage, hasn't it? Yes, lots and lots of rally heritage. This car's got some credibility because we all know the rallying triumphs that this car had with that Scottish chap that was a rally driver. Very well known Scottish chap. Billy Connolly, that's him. In the front there's actually adequate room. It's quite narrow, but there's enough room for me to sit comfortably. That is most definitely a good idea. Look, headroom as well. It's funny how most cars seem to have decent headroom. I don't know what's going on, because my Rovers never seem to have. I mean, they would have if they didn't have the lining sagging, I suppose. The Impreza, the 1992 Impreza, was known for having not very good build quality, just cheap plastics everywhere, that kind of thing. I mean, I must admit, it does look a bit dated, but how does it feel? I mean, it's a bit tappety, a bit scratchy stuff, but the dashboard's not too bad. That's better than I was expecting. A nice little thing in the middle there that useful for keeping tickets. Not particularly nice sound when you close that. No dampening. The vents are functional. They're not too bad. There's a bit broken there. The heater controls are they're okay. Yeah, they look a bit like they're from the 80s, possibly. Steering wheel. The steering wheel feels quite nice, actually. But the door that. Yeah, I mean, that does feel a bit. Again, it's a bit cheap feeling, I suppose. All these buttons here for the electric windows feel classic Japanese, and then this rather unusual effect on there isn't original. No, it's definitely not original. That has happened given time. That's quite a clang. But it's not fair to test the door shut sound when the window is down, because obviously the window will flab about everywhere and make that kind of flabby noise. So what about on this side? Is this any better? A bit. That's with the bonnet open, and we can see the flat 4 2-litre engine nestling in there with all of its road grime. It's not tarted up or anything like that. It's just a honest engine. It's a bit dirty in places. Nice big intercooler for the bonnet scoop doing its job, and then a big fat turbo down there. This car on paper produces 215 brake horsepower, and I would say that's quite a lot for a small car. But has it really got 215? It's that sound that I remember racing around and thinking, oh God, what a stupid noise. But obviously without that massive tailpipe on the back, it should be a bit more as it was intended. The steering wheel feels really big, actually. I don't know why. It feels bigger than it should be. Quite a lot of trim rattle going on. It's a bit of a bone shaker, but it feels very, very steady, very sturdy on the road here. The steering feels nice and sharp, although I've not tested out the steering yet, of course. Gear change is very, very slick, very sort of stiff feeling gear. Feels really accurate. Clutch is quite dumpy, it's quite heavy. Indicators on the correct side. Well, I say the correct side, the side that I'm used to. Got some burble on there, I can say, but it's not too loud. I always thought the Subaru engines sound kind of strained with this burble that it has. It's not really what you call a smooth sounding engine at all. It just almost sounds like it doesn't want to work. Sounds like maybe it's going to break. It's not though. That's punchy. And that was up to just under 4,000 RPM. I like that. More effortless performance. Of course, these are known for their cornering ability more than anything. Probably also known for people not getting out of the way, which is definitely what's happening here. There's another lane you could use there. This to me is another one of those third gear cars where it just wants to sling you up the road in third gear. I can't be slung anywhere at the moment because yet again, just like last week, come out down to a normally really empty road and it's full of cars everywhere. What a wasted opportunity. That's awful. What I like about this car so far is definitely the steering and the way it doesn't feel too precious. Too many cars are too precious. I should know. That was a bit strange. I put the window down and it goes forward, almost like it's one of those wet coming out of its seating position. I thought I'd broken the window for a second. Well, I've got a little bridge here. Did the test what it sounds like under the bridge sound. And it sounds naughty. In Japan, where this car was made, there was this so-called gentleman's agreement on how much power you should be able to have in your car. It was supposed to be about 280 brake horsepower. Anything more was simply ungainly and ungentlemanly. And then for the British market, this will be sent over with 215 brake horsepower to match the UK roads or something. But Subaru were known for having much more power than what they said they had. Make you like this car more because it's got more power than it feels like it should have. And then it turns out that it has, because they sneakily threw in a few more horses. I'm going to say that this is a rather exciting drive. The best opportunity I've got, I think, to put my foot down is going to be along this bit of national speed limit road just in a second. Now, the only way really is to just do this thing where you hang back, second gear, here we go, ready? That is brilliant. Oh yes, now you get this nice kick, this nice punchy low down power from sort of between 3.5 and 4,000 RPM. That really pulls there, and then suddenly you go to about 5,000 and it just slingshots you. It's fantastic. Gosh, I'm worn out now. I'm going to go and turn around and do that again, I reckon, because that could be just a little bit infectious. That's brilliant. Nothing in front of me except that van, but it's quite a long way off. So here I am driving super sensibly. Well, I'm doing 30 miles per hour there. I'm going to do that same thing again. I'm going to get to that national speed limit there and then just put my foot down so you can watch. Ready, go. Wow! Oh, nice. Whoa! That's fantastic. That's quick. That's more than 215 brake horsepower. Look, goosebumps everywhere. That is not 215 brake horsepower. No way. That is a... I'm lost for words. I'm not lost for words very often, but I'm lost for words enough to just tell you that I'm lost for words. I really want to do that again, but I've done the test. I've tested it to be fantastically quick. No wonder he'll never get rid of this car. So on top of all this, it's easy to drive. Everything's quite an easygoing car. It feels a happy car to drive. It does exactly what you expect it to do, and it goes like that, and without any really stupid noise. I mean, the flat 4 may be a bit of an acquired taste, and I never liked it, but I think what really put me off is quite simply those boy racers from 20 years ago, or 15 years ago in fact, are the ones that you still see knocking about normally in one of these, with it messed around with too much. And according to the nice chap I've borrowed this off for a drive with, some people have said that these have a reputation for breaking down, but they have a reputation for people messing around with the engines way beyond what they're really designed to do. And anything will break down given those circumstances. This feels like it's going to live forever. Turning circle's actually quite good as well, which I wasn't expecting. I reckon I like this car. It was one of the most engaging drives I've ever had. That's the most sure-footed car. I know that I could have driven it much harder, much faster, but that was certainly enough for me to be convinced that there's a really cracking car there that I've completely missed out on all these years. And now they're going to be really far too expensive to buy one. I once heard that to crash a Subaru Impreza, you've got to be a complete fucking idiot. Bye-bye.